Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the dark secret behind luxury brands. We're going to uncover the invisible forces of high-ticket branding. We're looking at a fascinating breakdown derived from the psychology of prestige, which is basically a strategic blueprint revealing exactly how the world's most elite companies operate. You see, this isn't just about fashion or cars, it's about the raw mechanics of human desire. So sit back, because we're about to pull back the curtain on the luxury market and explore the deeply engineered systems that dictate how wealth and perceived value actually work in our modern world.
I want you to really think about this for a moment. Why do we pay thousands of dollars just for a logo? A $20 digital watch keeps perfect time, arguably even better than a $20,000 mechanical one. And a canvas tote bag? It carries your daily items just as effectively as a $5,000 designer handbag. Functionally speaking, they do the exact same job. So why do rational, intelligent people willingly choose to pay 100 times more for what is essentially a simple logo? Well, as you'll see, it has absolutely nothing to do with telling time or carrying a laptop, and everything to do with a very specific, carefully constructed reality.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's masterclass. 1. The luxury brand secret. 2. The psychology of prestige. 3. Real-world brand examples. 4. The premium business strategy. And 5. Lessons for everyday entrepreneurs. We are going to completely deconstruct the luxury market step by step.
Part 1. The luxury brand secret. Paying for the invisible.
Part 2. The psychology of prestige. The pillars of high-ticket branding.
This brings us to our very first lever, status. Status is the social standing or perceived value a brand grants its owner in the eyes of others. And here is the massive realization. They aren't selling a watch. They are selling status. When someone wears a luxury brand, it acts as this silent communicator to the rest of the world. It literally says, I have achieved a certain level of success. It's a shorthand for wealth and competence, and it is deeply, deeply rooted in human psychology.
This builds directly into our next lever, which is exclusivity. Notice the exact phrasing here, the intentional restriction of access. A brand isn't truly luxury if just anyone can walk off the street into a store and buy it, right? By building literal and figurative walls around who can actually purchase a product, companies instantly elevate its perceived luxury and brand value. It's kind of like the velvet rope effect. If you are allowed past that rope, you feel special, elite, and completely separated from the masses.
Next up is scarcity, which works completely hand in hand with exclusivity. This is the deliberate limitation of supply. But notice the word artificially. These companies have the factories, they have the resources to produce millions of units, but they actively choose not to. By artificially restricting the supply, they trigger a desperate psychological need in the consumer because, well, we always want what we cannot have. When supply is low, demand, and consequently the price, just absolutely skyrockets.
So, tying these psychological pillars together, we land on social proof and emotional branding. This right here is how the buyer's subconscious justifies those enormous price tags. When you see celebrities, high-net-worth individuals, and people you admire carrying the specific brand, that is social proof. The emotional branding then steps in to make you feel that, hey, by purchasing this item, you are actually absorbing some of their success and joining their ranks. It is a brilliant, entirely invisible loop.
Now, what's really interesting about this next section, Part 3, Real-World Brand Examples, the Masters of Illusion.
Think about industry giants like Rolex, Louis Vuitton, Hermès, Ferrari, and Apple. At first glance, they seem incredibly different, right? One makes cars, another makes phones, another makes handbags. But they all share the exact same playbook. Rolex deliberately limits the supply of their stainless steel sports watches, creating insane, years-long waitlists. Hermès does the exact same thing with the Birkin bag. You literally can't just buy one, you have to be invited to buy one. Ferrari restricts who can purchase their most elite cars, often requiring a history of previous purchases. Louis Vuitton, they never put their products on sale, preserving absolute exclusivity. And Apple has masterfully positioned technology as a premium status symbol, completely dominating the high-end market through that emotional branding we just talked about.
Which brings us to Part 4, the premium business strategy, the counterintuitive rules.
This right here is the core operational blueprint. I want you to contrast traditional business methods with the luxury strategy. A traditional business competes on price, right? They try to be cheaper than the competition to drive a high sales volume. It's a race to the bottom. But look at the luxury strategy. They absolutely never compete on price. They deliberately ignore traditional logic to cater exclusively to rich customers who willingly pay more. They rely on limited editions and incredibly high margins. They aren't trying to sell 1 million items to 1 million people at a tiny profit. No, they are selling 1,000 items to 1,000 elite customers at a massive, massive profit.
And the financial impact of this strategy, it's staggering. We are talking billions of dollars. By refusing to lower prices, by mastering emotional branding, and by manipulating status and exclusivity, these companies generate billions of dollars in pure brand value. Think about that. They aren't making billions because their leather is somehow magically better than everyone else's. They are making billions because their psychological grip on the market is absolute.
All right, let's wrap this up with Part 5, Lessons for Everyday Entrepreneurs, Applying the Playbook.
So, the crucial point here boils down to 3 actionable steps that you can use. First, build emotional brand value. You have to stop competing merely on features or logic. Start selling the feeling, the outcome, and the status that your product or service provides. Second, leverage controlled scarcity. Don't always be completely available. Create limited windows, exclusive tiers, or specialized services. Make your time and your product feel rare. And third, command premium pricing without apology. If you've built the emotional value and the exclusivity we just talked about, the price is no longer an obstacle. It actually becomes part of the appeal. The truth is, you can apply these prestige mechanics to whatever work you do.
If you found this breakdown of high-ticket psychology valuable today, please take a second to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below letting me know which brand you think uses these tactics the best. It really helps us keep creating these explainers for you.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder the next time you walk past a luxury storefront or pull out your credit card. Are you buying the product, or is the product buying your status? Once you see the invisible architecture of luxury branding, you really can never unsee it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.